All right, a very good morning and welcome to this edition of Morning Cafe. Today I won't even ask you how hot your coffee is where you are. I know it is very hot. It may be cold out here. It is quite chilly in Nairobi. Oh, yes. But I know your coffee is definitely hot. My name is Fred Indemoli. Karibu sana to Morning Cafe this 25th of June 2024.
Remember this date. Remember this date. In the many years to come, you'll be telling your parents.
Yes. Today in history.
Today in his
on
past.
The 24th of June.
Or this day now. So I'm used to Stanley Jaringeta, and as he says, things will be getting hotter. And up even in your studio, you need to bath the voices that we'll be having here.
Yes, today we're saying we're listening to the generation. Yes? If anyone else is not listening to them, we will definitely be listening. Voices of a generation, that is what will be the main discussion today, and we'll be having a group of young people in studio. Some of them are already in studio, and we'll be engaging them in exactly what their feelings are with regard to the Reject Finance Bill movement. Quite a number of them are in studio right now this morning, and more will be coming. Karibuni sana. We'll be engaging them later on. And of course, it is a discussion that many people are talking about. If you look at the trending hashtags, Reject Finance Bill 2024 is among the top.
Occupy Parliament.
Inject. But we'll be getting to that later on. Let's take a look at the dailies this morning.
Tuangalie, Dailies.
Tax rebellion.
Yes.
Ruto's wiggle room shrinks. The space around the president is getting smaller and smaller. So yes, that's a big discussion, and of course also featuring the departure of the first batch of Kenyan security forces off to Haiti. That's a big headline on the Standard this morning.
Ruto's options. President Ruto and his team advisors caught up in a delicate balancing act. Yes.
The space is getting smaller.
Wiggle room yake.
And this year they say he has at least 4 options.
Yeah.
Which one will he choose?
Which way, Mr. President? Andamaneni lakini. Lakini.
Andamaneni lakini. Tumewaambia. Ni hatma ya serikali kuhusu maandamano ya leo. On the Business Daily, Shift Transition Team wants July 1st rollout plan suspended. Now, did you expect this to happen? That's the Business Daily this morning, and things are boiling nicely, as Gabriel Oguda would say. Incidentally, I've just woken up to tweets saying that Gabriel Oguda wamemfanyia ile maneno.
PM ameshika.
Wamemfanyia ile maneno. So we're still yet to confirm. But there's already a flyer doing the rounds. Free Gabriel Oguda. So let's wait and see.
I wonder what Medusa will say.
Things are boiling nicely. The clouds are gathering.
The grandmother's cut.
We shall be there no matter what. On the People Daily.
Major test for MPs as Kindiki reads Riot Act. That is the big headline. We'll be also getting to understand from them what they picked up from Kindiki's.
And what their expectations are, because today Parliament will be considering clause by clause on all the proposed amendments to the Finance Bill 2024. The taxes that they said, okay, fine, we will do away with them. Just wait for Tuesday. Leo ndio hiyo siku.
On the Star, cops to cordon off State House and Parliament. As much as the young protesters are saying, hapa ndio tunaenda.
Kwani kuna mtu alisema anaenda State House? Mbona wanaanza ku... Well, but then it's a security think tank that's blaming the crisis on poor government communication. And yes, on the front page of the Star, cops to cordon off State House and Parliament.
In Uganda matters, the front page of Daily Monitor. I'm not joking, by the way. It's a joke na nyinyi.
Hii ni Kampala. Wanatuangalia from far, alafu wanasema, wow, kana shida zao. War on graft, I am not joking, says Museveni. Matters corruption still making it on the front pages of the dailies in Kampala this morning. And of course, most of this is centered around Parliament.
On the front page of the New Vision.
In Uganda, and where's the New Vision? Yes. Government recalls 2,300 titles in wetlands. Evictions over encroachment extended countrywide. Matters land. Also featuring on the front page of the news headlines in Uganda this morning. Matters corruption still there. Museveni questions role of LCS in fighting corruption. So yes, at least in Uganda, matters corruption, they're discussing it actively. The Speaker of the Assembly, the President himself, and members of the National Assembly in Kampala, some of them have been arraigned in court. In Kenya, we're still not talking about corruption. Hiyo itangoja kwanza.
Into Dar es Salaam and Tanzania, basically, gazeti la Mwananchi wasema Kariakoo kwa moto, wafanyabiashara wafunga maduka kushinikiza hoja zao. Dhidi ya serikali, wachache wafungua, serikali ya waita yasitisha ukaguzi risiti za EFDRC chala mila aja juu, apingwa sinema nzima ilivyokuwa jana.
And you get the feeling that they're learning from their brothers Kenya, across the border in Kenya.
Yeah.
So in Tanzania, they're actually picking up this momentum. They're also discussing issues about taxes
yeah,
their budget making process, and they're feeling, okay, fine, we can also have this mass movement and say no to some things. Yes, so that's a big headline on the front page of Mwananchi. Habari zingine zilizopewa kipaumbele kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Mwananchi: Daktari Dimwa apingwa kila kona, Mwinyi kupewa 7. Na ni siasa tu za Chama cha Mapinduzi kule Zanzibar. Yes. Finally on the Citizen, government traders in talks amid shop closures. Yes, that's the standoff between the government and traders in various trading centers, especially in Dar es Salaam. Negotiations between the government and traders representatives were going on in Dodoma yesterday, as some shops remained closed in Dar es Salaam's usually bustling Kariakor shopping district. Matters to do with taxation and other measures imposed by the government that the traders are not happy with. So that is what is making the front pages of the dailies in Tanzania. Back home, let's take a look at the traffic situation this morning. Of course, it's going to change. Of course, especially within the city center.
Oh, yes.
Vile mambo inaenda tunajua itakuwa red kila mara. But so far, so good. I'm looking at the main tributaries into town, and there's nothing much to report this morning. Even Thika Road is looking unusually green. Nothing much to report here. Oh yes, not even a build-up at Pangani. And by now, usually there's a build-up around this Pangani interchange, but nothing so much. Thika Road, if we go as far back as Kasarani, nothing to report, all the way down to the past Allsops, KC University, the Utali Drift, to the Muthaiga Pangani interchange. Nothing much to report there. You can head into town comfortably. Limuru Road also looking green this morning. So is Kiambu Road. Probably there'll be some activity around DCI later on. There's usually a lot of activity there. Yesterday there was some trouble at Kist. That's much closer to Kiambu town, but that has since been resolved. If we look at Jogoo Road also, kwani ni mapema aje? Ama it's like it's a holiday.
8 minutes first. Yes. But then, I mean, the organizers said, yo, guys, relax.
Total shutdown.
Yes.
Total shutdown. Because, yes, the amount of traffic moving towards town, even using Jogoo Road, is much deemed this morning. Of course, apart from this beat here around Makadara, opposite Makadara towards town, around Botella area there, just a bit of a slowdown, but nothing much to report. Also, as you head closer to the City Stadium roundabout, also looking good, nothing much. Even the usually busy Landis Road and Haile Selassie Avenue next to Marikiti is not looking as busy as usual. It is quite comfortable this morning. But unajua wanasema the calm before the storm.
The storm. And actually, even away from matters, even the protests, the midterm schools are going to be breaking as early as today.
Some schools were closed yesterday.
Yesterday. So the set dates were 26th, which is tomorrow. But then the fact that now this particular protest and some schools are saying this particular protest are going to even make some schools even have these schools close as early as today. So we're going to be expecting a lot of traffic in some of these bus stations as they close today.
Mombasa Road towards town looking good. Langata Road as well, nothing to report there. So is Ngong Road towards City Stadium, City Mortuary roundabout is looking good. And finally, Wayaki Way into town, past ABC Place. Some sections a bit red, but nothing to report there, nothing much to worry about. Into town, mambo kila kitu iko sawa this morning. That's the traffic situation as at 11 minutes past 6. But I'm sure, especially within the CBD, a lot is going to change throughout the day.
All right, let's take a look at the weather, some bits and pieces of the country. Tuanze na Machakos, watu wa Masaku. If you're around there, this is how things are going to be looking like. Today, 11 degrees Celsius, but then they say it feels like 9 degrees. Yoni baridi shadidi. But then it promises to get as hot as 23 degrees Celsius, so no chances of raining if you're in Machakos. So if you're going to be participating in peaceful demonstrations around there, you're good to go. From Machakos to Eldoret, 13 degrees Celsius, chances of it raining into the evening probably, some thunderstorms. So in case you have any businesses that you want to do, make sure that you start wrapping them up by the evening hapo ukienda kumalizia, because chances of it raining is quite high into the evening, but then during the day it is going to be looking amazing. Into Nairobi finally,
wow,
11 degrees Celsius, ni ile weather mzuri kabisa. Si baridi sana na si jua sana.
But then it promises to go as high as 22. But you know what? Tear gas ikianza kuruka, itawaka moto.
22 itafeel ni kama ni 30 something degrees.
I tell you.
Oh yes. That in a nutshell is the weather in different parts of the country. Obviously, tukiendelea, we'll be taking a look at how things will be looking like. And speak of how things will be looking like. So a quick review of our news diary for today. So first off, the Finance Bill 2024. We do expect members of the National Assembly will today consider and take a vote on various amendments of the Finance Bill 2024. So what we expect today is they will either adopt proposals put forward, recommend more amendments, or stick to those endorsed by the Kenya Kwanza government during a parliamentary group meeting at State House last week. So this will be the committee of the whole House. And to the next page, something related to the same. Organizers of anti-tax protests will hold round 2 of Occupy Parliament demonstrations across the country in a move to have MPs vote no on the bill today. And we'll be giving you wall-to-wall coverage on this particular peaceful demonstrations expected. And to the next page, something else totally different. So we do expect the first batch of 400 Kenyan police officers set to leave for Haiti to lead a UN-backed mission to tackle gang violence. Head of operations at the Administration Police Service, that is Senior Assistant Inspector General of Police, Geoffrey Tunge, will lead the team as the commander. Left. Oh, they've actually left. They left
off aboard KQ flights some minutes past midnight.
Okay, right. So we'll obviously now be getting even live pictures from there. Interestingly, the leader, one of the leaders of the gang leaders says, nataka sasa peace talks. So it's going to also be interesting to see how that will shape up. And to the next page, education matters, something that I had alluded to earlier. Pupils and students will today from various schools countrywide may break for the midterm calendar earlier than anticipated due to the anti-finance bill protests. We did see yesterday the Education Ministry revise these dates in a last-minute kind of a rush. It was set for 26th, and so according to the Minister of Education, 26th all the way to 28th, and then learners in boarding schools expected to report back on the 30th of June 2024. So that again will be watching to see how it will be unfolding. And finally, into health matters, Public Health Principal Secretary, that is Mary Muthoni, will open the Health Sector Intergovernmental Consultative Forum today. So the agenda includes deliberating on intergovernmental health issues, sharing best practices in health service delivery, as well as providing updates on implementation of universal health coverage. So even in the subsequent bulletins, one of the key focus really would be the universal health coverage in both, even in devolved units. So we'll be focusing and just taking a look at what will be said on so far how UHC has been updated. Right now, though, let's take a look at Today in History.
And Togo joined the Commonwealth as the 55th and 56th members respectively, thus becoming the latest nations with no historic ties to Britain to enter the English-speaking club headed by the UK monarch.
Turejelee magazeti, and of course the big story today is a tax rebellion, what we expect in not just Nairobi, across the country, different towns. And there's even news that in Eldoret town there was some protests at night. Watu hawakulala in anticipation. Watu wanangojea tu. But on the front page of the Standard, tax rebellion, Ruto's wiggle room shrinks. Interior CS Kithure Kindiki has warned the youth that action will be taken for demos beyond 6:30 p.m. Yes, and if they attempt to access protected areas, that is, however, the youth are not relenting, saying the finance bill being debated today must be dropped. And the story has been extensively covered on pages 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the Standard this morning. It is definitely the biggest discussion. We cannot avoid it. And it's on the front page, yes. The other story given prominence on this page, on this paper, first batch of Kenyan security officers off to Haiti. And yes, a photo there of the president as he prayed for the soldiers, for the police servicemen before they left for Haiti. I do believe right now they must be airborne. Other highlights on the front page: Mudavadi aid in court over 5.6 million shilling fraud deal. And Africans in diaspora honor Professor Ngugi. These are just some of the stories given prominence. Other highlights on the top strip of the Standard, of the front page: eyes on police over rising cases of abductions. Yes, there's so many. I've seen now a second flyer. They say Otero.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It's called who?
I've forgotten his name, but I was actually, he's also been abducted?
Yes, we're not saying he's been abducted. He's been picked up by the police.
Allegedly.
Oguda too, and then Shadrach Halif is also still, his whereabouts are still unexplained. So the hashtag FreeShad is still active. Other highlights: wildebeest say in Mara Shortens, cargo at Naivasha ICD drops by half, and why Kenya will have lean team at the Olympics. That's the front page of the Standard this morning. Let's take a look at the Daily Nation.
Similar headlines on the front page of Daily Nation: Ruto's options, and they list about 4 of them. Which way, Mr. President, is what they're asking. Borrowing more. So they say the amended bill is passed, but State House has rose more to fill the budget deficit, as well as increasing the taxes and slashing budget. Another option would be withdrawing the bill. They say President Ruto and his team of advisors are caught up in a delicate balancing act to find the best way out of a stalemate that has triggered countrywide protests. And the options are not only intended to assuage the public anger brought about by some of the tax proposals, but also ensure smooth running of government. More is extensive on page 4, 5, 6, and 7. Into education matters, move grades 8 and 9 to high school. More is on the back page. This even as the 47th Kenya Secondary Schools Heads Association conference in Mombasa is happening. Other headlines on the left scroll, they say CJ issues new rules as court reopens. The judiciary has approved a phased reopening of the Makadara law courts after the 2-week closure following the fatal shooting of Principal Magistrate Monica Kivuti. From that into fraud matters, MPs want 3 rogue hospitals delisted. Other headlines: why double taxation bill targeting owners of land in towns has angered Kenyans. Hii kwanza ndio sasa imeuma watu zaidi. And I mean, even when you interact with a number of Kenyans and listen to a number of these ex-spaces, they'd say even the older generation, it seems as if they do not really understand this. And what even a number of Gen Z have done is they have translated some of these sections, some of these controversial sections into a number of languages, so that even uko pale mashinani, you don't really understand English, but then you can actually go through it and skim through it and understand it in your mother tongue. That is the front page of Daily Nation. Into gazeti la Taifa Leo,
wanasema andamaneni, lakini masharti haya: serikali yaruhusu vijana kushiriki maandamano, ila yaonya kwamba itamwadhibu yeyote ambaye ataharibu mali au kuvuruga uchukuzi wa barabarani, reli, majini au ule wa angani. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa pili. Aidha, serikali yasisitiza kwamba waandamanaji hawataruhusiwa kufika katika majengo muhimu kama vile bunge na ikulu ya rais. Habari kuu pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele. Habari zaidi, vidokezo zaidi: NHIF walimu walia kukosa huduma za afya. Kwingineko, korti ya agiza mwanamke alipe mamilioni. Na kaunti ya Lamu sasa yafungua ukurasa mpya. Pale juu ni mtihani kila upande kwa Rais Ruto. Serikali inakabiliwa na pingamizi kutoka kwa Gen Z, upinzani na mpasuko kule ndani UDA. I tell you. Katika masuala ya spoti leo, Ufaransa na Uingereza hakuna kulala. Miamba hawa hawana nafasi ya kuteleza iwapo wanataka kutinga 16 bora euro. Habari kamili ya spoti kwenye ukurasa wa 20 kwenye gazeti hili la Taifa Leo. Lakini kumbuka, andamaneni lakini habari kuu pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele.
Ushachagua timu ya euro ama utaniambia focus? Focus. Sawa. Kidogo niambia read the room. On Business Daily, SHIF transition team wants July 1st rollout plan suspended. Test run shows ICT system isn't ready for the shift apparently. Si maneno yetu hayo, gazeti inasema state advised to carry on with NHIF and recall regulations. So the estimate cost of the ICT system, according to the Minister of Health, get this, is 5 billion Kenyan shillings. Okay. Pale chini, how we pull the shilling back from the brink. That is according to CBK Governor Thuge Pale. On the ticker, matters economy, Kenya pays 72 billion Kenyan shillings Eurobond balance with World Bank cash. They say Kenya has settled the balance of $560 million, which equates to 72 billion of the 2014 Eurobond, using a part of the proceeds of a 81.2 billion World Bank loan, the CBK said. How big businesses dodged 150 billion cash shillings taxes. And into matters, companies, mobile money subscriptions rebound and scrapped Intel transfer card. Something else that you also need to know for today, new car sales fall 13.5% on costly loans taxes. Watu wameacha kununua magari.
Watu watembea. Imekuwa bani lazima ukue na gari na wanaongeza mafuta.
Ndio. Naona hata pia imekusaidia ukapunguza kitambi kidogo.
Mambo yako focus. On the front page of the People Daily, major test for MPs as Kindiki reads riot act. Of course, the finance bill is before Parliament for the Committee of the Whole House as they consider all the amendments before the final third reading. That's a big headline there, and a photo of some of the protesters who availed themselves to the police yesterday, led by Boniface Mwangi there. Other stories on the front page, away from matters protests, the man behind extortion scam in Musalia office. Yesterday, the team was arraigned, and today we do expect that the magistrate or the judge will be giving direction on how long they can be held as investigations continue. Raila Party directs MPs to reject finance bill. Yes, the debate is still the same. Azimio, National Assembly Minority Leader Obiyo Wandayi, together with other opposition lawmakers, addressing a press conference at Parliament buildings yesterday. That's the front page of the People Daily. And lastly, on the Star, cops to cordon off State House and Parliament. Imewaambia mali askari watakuwa. Chunga, hapa tunda askari watakuwa. Kwingineko, Raila factor in Ruto and Gachagua political tension. I thought we had moved on from this debate about the deputy president. It's only on the front page. But then again, it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, it's Tuesday.
Yes.
I don't know. It feels like a Thursday to me.
Focus.
I think it's also the fact that.
How can you forget that today is Tuesday?
I think it's the fact that Davji Atela, Secretary KMPD, alisema mkienda protests will have a whole music system, a sound system for you guys. So it already starts to feel like a weekend.
All right.
Yeah.
Other highlights on the front page of the Star. Moment of truth as MPs take final vote on tax law. Kanyuira built iconic Sabina Joy for City, made loads of cash.
Sabina Joy is on the front
page.
Fans
wa Sabina Joy pia.
Yeah.
Kwa pale imewekwa kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa the Star.
Oh, yes.
And finally, supreme ambition. Raila's bid for AUC job moves ahead to beat a deadline. These are the stories given prominence and highlighted on the front page of the Star. And those are the dailies this morning. Let's take a look at the cartoon. And I tell you, the cartoon on the Standard is very interesting. Page 14 of the Standard. It has a president, or a caricature of the president, on a hospital bed. The bed is even branded Zakayo. And the guy on the bed even has the UDA colors. And then the doctor is looking at him and saying, youth revolt in your blood pressure. Temperature high with finance bill protests. Abnormal pulse caused by major jitters. And low respiratory rate due to the discord with your deputy.
The deputy.
And you know, you can sometimes you even feel, is it pity? Should we feel pity for this gentleman? Things are boiling nicely. And yes, the president's...
No, zile lines ziko pale.
Actually, today...
What do you call that machine?
Iyo
machine.
Iyo machine ya wagonjwa.
Iyo.
On page 15 of the Daily Nation, reject finance bill is a hashtag there on that phone. And on one side, we do have the president, or a caricature of the president on a negotiating table, yet on the other side, there's no one seated across him to negotiate, but it seems that the other side is actually a mousetrap. The other seat. And he's asking, who do I offer a handshake? Gen Z. Nani ataenda kupewa hii handshake?
Nani atakalia hii kiti? Plus, you know, again...
Who's ready to negotiate with the president now?
Plus, again, I mean, it's so organic that there's no particular leader.
How do you know? They'll be telling us. Probably they have a leader who's ready to negotiate with the president.
Well,
yes? They'll be telling us that after the break.
A final cartoon review on page 10 of People Daily. Stano goes with the Haiti, but then ameshikilia, so it's a whole balancing act of the finance bill as well as matters. Actually, it's
about the finance bill.
It's actually the whole finance bill on Kenya on the other side, and a finance bill. Let's talk.
But it would appear from this description, this team already has an advantage, and that's why he's saying, let's talk.
It's
cracking already.
Yes, it's cracking.
All right, those are just the depictions in as far as the cartoons are concerned this morning. We'll be looking at this and a lot more with the Gen Z themselves in studio today. We have a whole team of young people here to be telling us the truth about exactly what's happening with the Occupy Parliament discussion, hashtag Reject Finance Bill 2024, Inject, and others. Do stand by for that. And of course, you can be part of this conversation as well through our social media pages on X at TV47 News, on Facebook, TV47 Kenya. You can tag me as well at Fred Indimuli is my X handle.
All right. And just remember, we'll be giving you a whole special coverage of this demonstrations and actually what will be happening in Parliament as the whole committee of the whole House sits to vote and look at some of these proposed amendments. So that will be having a team in Bunge, just giving you live pictures of the same. Not only that, in different parts of the country, we'll be giving you live pictures on how the young protesters and activists will be coming to the streets to actually protest. Stick around for that. Keep it here at TV47.
Kila kiongozi ana hadithi yake
you
ya
inspire us to push boundaries, tell compelling stories, and keep informing you with integrity and professionalism. We are committed to giving you more news, more stories, and more entertainment. Stay tuned to TV47.
Even the employees knows that. So when in the boardroom is a chairman.
The biggest mistake a small business can make is to think like a small business.
Kila maamuzi wanayoyafanya hufichua mengi kuhusu utu wao na uongozi wao.
We see God blessing us and we now realize the power of giving also.
My name is Nesanya and this was me.
Kupitia kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, kupitia mahojiano ya kusisimua, uchunguzi wa kina, uongozi wetu.
Pick your core business.
He killed my child! He killed my people!
And you are supposed to deliver to us 6,000.
Usikose kila Alhamis saa 1:30 jioni.
So go this bad man will no longer become.
Where challenges are as common as opportunities, there are those who dare to defy the odds. They are the entrepreneurs. On Entrepreneurship isn't just about starting a business. It's about embracing uncertainty, pushing boundaries, and turning dreams into reality.
Did you know that singing the happy birthday song twice while washing hands is a great way to ensure sufficient time for proper hand
All right, welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV47 with me, Fred Indimuli. This morning, we're having a very interesting conversation, not the usual panel of politicians. We do have a different kind of feeling in studio. We have a group of young people, and they'll be telling us more about why they are in studio and why they need, or they feel they need to be heard. A look at the top trends this morning. Apart from the free various people hashtags that are trending on X, Reject Finance Bill 2024 is among the trending hashtags. Total Shutdown Kenya is another, and Gen Z is among the top trends. No Surrender 2 is also among the top trending topics on X. On the Dailies this morning, tax rebellion, Ruto's wiggle room shrinks. On the Daily Nation, Ruto's options. And that is a discussion going on and on. On the Star, they talk about where police will be today. And of course, we do expect that there will be a lot of activity in Parliament, the National Assembly to be precise, as members of the National Assembly consider each and every one of the proposed amendments to the Finance Bill 2024 before the Committee of the Whole House. Now, I'm not even sure where to start this conversation from, but a lot has been said about the Gen Z and about this age factor. And I believe that my panel here is mainly made up of Gen Z. Gen Z basically are people born between 1997 and 2012 or thereabout. And of course, probably there are a few millennials as well who were born probably ideally between 1981 and 1996. So if you're born between 93, 94, 95, you're still okay. It is still a space. And let's start the conversation from there, this generational discord. And why this kind of agitation has been about age, and why are we discussing the age factor? Why is it being dubbed Gen Z protests? Why are we talking about the age? Aren't these things affecting each and every Kenyan? Issues about taxation, issues about levies, issues about the high cost of living. Let's start with the only lady in the panel. And once I call upon you, because you're so many, you'll have to introduce yourself and what you do, and then proceed with your response. So why is it that we've made it a generational issue?
Good morning. My name is Naipame Kaikai. I'm an economist by profession and a champion for sustainable development goals. So it has become a generational issue because the young generation feel that they are the highest population. We are the biggest population in the country, yet the share of the cake is very small that we get. It has always been that way. So that is why the narrative has to be changed and the voices of the young people has to be heard, and a neutral point whereby all other Kenyans will feel comfortable, not only for the young people, but also for our parents and our older people too. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the reason why it has become a bracket of age, because the young people, even in Parliament, how many Gen Zs or millennials are there? There are very few. And if there are many, they are from godfathers, not just from any other background. So that is a positive change that we are fighting for a future we believe in, but also in the grounds that we have to understand that Kenya is made for all of us, not only Gen Z. Yes, we are a biggest population, but there are other people too. Okay. That being said means that we need to understand and take consideration of the concerns of the rest of the population. That irrespective of us fighting for our space, which is rightfully, constitutionally, we should also consider that these other people who are not in this age bracket deserve the democracy and inclusion just like we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the feeling is that most of you may have had an opportunity or two to actually vote in the past election process. And whether or not you did vote, one would expect that that is an opportunity for you to get your voice heard. How come all of a sudden many within this age group are feeling that people are not listening to them? The gentleman at the back.
Thank you very much. I'm Anthony Masu. I'm the chairperson of the Workers' Committee in the Labour Party of Kenya, and also the youth leader in that Labour Party. And just to brush up very quickly on why it's a Gen Z revolution also, is the fact that we are injecting new blood into the struggle for a better country.
Interesting you called it a revolution there, and are we there yet? We were just talking about protests against the finance bill of 2024.
Now, the framing by the older generation is protest. No, this is a revolution. We are revolting. That is technically the term. And we are giving new blood into the struggle for a better country. We are a young population that is not corrupt. We are not evil. We have not committed political sins like, let me use our fathers. And that is why we are stepping into this space now to let our voice be heard. Yes, there was a vote, but one of the issues that we've had in this country is electoral injustices. Not only are we young, but we are also learned. We understand our country. And we had, some of us, a few of us, had a chance to vote in the previous election. And it was a secret ballot, but we tried to make the best choice in those circumstances. Now, we realize that some of those choices that were made were not the best choices for this country, and we have to step out and make let our voices be heard and slay dragons such as corruption, and now in this case, the Financial Bill 2024 that has come out to tax our blood, because most of us are jobless. Some of us graduated, some of us have not graduated, but the government is not interested at all in providing employment opportunity to any of us young people. And so we have to ask them, why do you want to tax our blood? Because we are not earning. And that's why we will be there every day. Because hatuna kazi nyingine, we don't have any other job. We'll be there every day for the government to ask them the question until they listen to us.
Okay, allow me to dwell on the electoral process for a bit, because that is the basis of our democracy, yes? And one would expect that if you had an opportunity to vote at the last election cycle, with the numbers that you say you have, then that voice would have been heard already. How come that voice wasn't heard? Who has an answer to that? Someone else. Thank you, Tony. Yes, the gentleman at the back.
I think there's a...
again, your name and...
I'm Kale Paul. I'm the chair of Single Men Association, because you see, we are heading to the worst country that probably some of us will wish to stay alone if our ladies are being told that there's not going to be sanitary towels, they are going to be somewhere, I don't know what is going to happen. You see, the bill is not even allowing them things that are nature to be done. So we are heading somewhere that is not right, because you see, the last time we woke up and cast our vote, but at the end of the day, you saw what happened in Bomas of Kenya. That was not we did. That is what not we did. That is somebody's hand was in it. The Jose Camargo thing that is now affecting us. That was not our choice. That was the choice of Jose Camargo. But what we did in the morning, very early in the morning of the 8th of August, 2022, that was not the result we got that were now being tallied in Bomas. That was something else. And that is what is affecting us today. That's why you see, the Gen Z is not a tribe thing. We are the youths. And you see, you will not know where I come from, because I don't want you to know me, because I am with other youths. That is our tribe now as the Gen Z. So you see, what happened to us is not something that we expected. We go cast our vote, but they doesn't count. I don't know who changed them in the middle of things.
You really feel the electoral process did not...
Yeah, you see like...
Is that the general feeling, that the last electoral process was not accurate?
It was not accurate. I know somebody, according to me and to many, yes, it wasn't accurate, because we see Jose Camargo is still trending.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So that is the truth. So we don't choose leaders. Somebody choose leaders on our behalf after we cast our vote.
Who disagrees with that assertion? Who disagrees with that assertion? Okay, the gentleman in a blue suit. Your name and...
Right, thank you very much. My name is Lodrick Chirchir. I'm part of the Kenya Kwanza Youth League, and I'm also a lawyer by profession.
Kindly speak up.
I'm also a lawyer by profession. Basically, what the gentleman in the back is saying is that there was some election injustices, which to me, I disagree, because after that, the opposing party went to the courts and sought some justice to that. And the court, in its decision, said that the party that won fairly and squarely. Whatever we are facing now as a country is not a result of that, but a result of policies that are being made in the process of trying to raise taxes so that we can continue as a country. What I just disagree with the government is the question of how we are going to spend the taxes that we are raising. It is not the question of the electoral injustices, as the gentleman in the back suggested, but it is the question of when we raise, are we using the taxes that we have raised fairly?
Okay.
That is why the Gen Zs are on the streets.
And my question, because I'm trying to find out, where did the distinction begin? This generational break, did it start at the electoral process, or did it just start with the finance bill recently? The gentleman at the back in a black suit.
Christopher Nyakundi Thomas is my name. Siku zote unaambiwa mjinga kierevuka mwerevu huwa mashakani. What is happening right now is that we are bearing the fruits of voting emotionally. And those who vote emotionally and using feelings, mostly I can say that the millennials. Most of us, we didn't cast our votes. And that is the truth. We had the chance, but we never casted our votes.
Okay.
The truth has hit us using the financial bill. That is when now we've woken up. We've seen that it's time for us to act. And for us to act well, we are going to use the financial bill as a stepping stone to ensure that those in power act based on the voices of the common mwananchi. I heard my friend there saying that the problem is not all about collecting taxes, it's about expenditure. We've been collecting taxes. Those in office are the ones spending our taxes.
Okay. And let's stick with this, because I just want to understand the DNA of this discord. What exactly is causing the discord, and why is it a generational issue? That's why we're starting from the elections, coming down to the finance bill. The gentleman here in the blue suit at the front.
Thank you very much, Fred. My name is Magoba Emmanuel. I am a political scientist. Now let me bring you from a position of knowledge, Fred. You've asked why is it that right now it's when the young people are coming out, we are like revolting, we are fighting for our rights. Fred, the former president Mwai Kibaki gave us free education. We as young people have been able to utilize this education well. And as a political scientist, I'll remind you of words by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He says that man was born free, but everywhere man is always in chains. We as young people, we as Kenyans, not just young people, we as Kenyans have been in chains. So it is our generation that is trying to unchain us. And history has it that even those Pan-Africanists, they were young. Look at people like Thomas Sankara, a young person. A lot of young persons fought for independence of African nations. So also us as young Kenyans, we are coming out, we are saying, no, this is not the social contract that we formed with the government. And when the social contract is formed, it is the people who come, subdue their rights, accept the right to life, and then they appoint a government. The government is supposed to protect the people. The government is supposed to provide for the people and ensure, or rather guarantee safety to the people. But that is not what is happening in our nation. Our nation is struggling to justify the proverbial adage that history repeats itself. Because when you look what is happening in Kenya today, it happened in 1960s, 1980s. When you look at Dambisa Moyo's book, The Dead Aid, when states had borrowed, and because of their policies, they failed to even repay these debts. And then the states had to subdue their people to high taxes. They had to sell off parastatols. They had to do a lot of things that injured the normal citizens. And that is what is happening to Kenya today. We're seeing our policies, they are not citizen-friendly policies. It is like the social contract that we have formed, it is punishing us. Okay. And that's why we are coming out to say no to this. And
you talk about the social contract, meaning that probably you too voted for this administration. Do you accept that? Because there was a contestation back then. The gentleman at the back said the Gen Zs did not necessarily vote come 2022. I'll come back to you. The gentleman with probably in the 30 seconds, I want to give that.
Yeah, 30 seconds. Fred, voting for a government is not a problem. Voting for someone is not a problem. We vote for policies. Those who voted for Kenya Kwanza government voted for the policies. But then when those policies are not being fulfilled, we as young people, we are now coming out to say, no, this was not the contract.
So which is which? Did Gen Zs vote in 2022 or they did not?
They did not.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Kenyans.
Do you have a microphone?
I have it.
Okay.
My name is JB and I'm an engineer by profession and I believe in social rights. I think the point of departure that we had as the Gen Zs is that at first we believed that our opinion don't count in our voting processes. So we just hoped that the status quo would come and heal the country, but it never worked. Now, if we look back in the recent elections, we thought that we are simply correcting the mistakes that we did. I remember during the electoral processes, we used to go on Instagram and post proudly that I'm not voting. Mm-hmm. You remember during those times, Fred. And we forgot, or we believed that even though we don't have interest in politics, politics has interest in us. And right now is when we are, the politics, you are feeling it.
You're feeling the pinch now.
The pinch now, we are coming to regret.
Are you saying that you've learned your mistake for failing to vote? Kindly hand her the mic.
Definitely. I think...
Your name and what you do?
My name is Jennifer and I'm a Gen Z. So I think definitely this is a wake-up call for our generation, that as much as we want to reject the finance bill, it all starts at the ballot. And I don't blame us. By the time it was election time, most of us were quite young. Number two, we've seen the processes in this country. We've seen how the politics happened during the voting time, like you saw what happened during 2022. So there is a lot of, we don't trust the system, in short, in terms of electoral process. We've seen several candidates just losing over and over, some claiming they've been stolen. So for a long time, I feel like the youth were like, okay, that's not our business. Mm-hmm. We already know it's shady. So as much, we don't think our opinion or our vote will count, because at the end of the day, there are these big states, big people behind the process. So we never trusted in this process. And this has led to this, because people went voted, people went bribed. We had people who couldn't represent us in those ballots and voted for these people. And I could say that those are the target market for our politicians. But thank God we are here now, because now the youth are woke.
Okay.
It's a wake-up call for us that as much as we want to reject this bill, maybe it's time that we start at the ballot. Mm-hmm. Come 2027, and you could see with this movement that's happening, everyone is saying, I'm going to take a voter's registration. Mm-hmm. And not only that, we are going to take them in the right constituencies. Because the other thing is, you find, as youth, we were being told you have to go all the way and vote. I come from Mount Kenya, so I voted in Embu, but I don't live in Embu. I live in Nairobi. I meet potholes in Nairobi, not in Embu County.
You went all the way to Embu to vote?
Yes, all the way to Embu, because traditionally, even at home, you're told, there is no much education around these voting processes. I remember having to switch your voting card to another constituency. You had to look for a chief and all that. And it's hectic, genuinely. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I mean. So I feel like this time it's going to be different. We are going to get more information and on how to actually go about this entire process.
Let's do a quick poll by a show of hands. How many, as of 2022, were registered voters? That's like everyone here, yes. How many actually cast their ballot in 2022? Okay, more or less everyone. So where is this contestation that Gen Zs did not cast their ballot in 2022? Yes, the gentleman at the corner.
Thank you, Fred. I'm Fred Mokua, a Gen Z and a youth advocate, and I'm also a political analyst. So these issues of a Gen Z is a pile-up problem. And with the time, we have been taking part in the process when they want the elections or when they want votes from us. So as time goes by, once we give them the position, they forget us, then they start planning. So now we want to take, that's why we are using the tag Occupy Parliament. Occupy Parliament is more of metaphorical. It means once they might pass this finance bill, but in 2027 we are going to occupy the Parliament, so that we don't want to go to eat the food in the table. We want to go to the market, get the ingredients, go to the kitchen, prepare and serve. We don't want to be used one and over. We want to take part. That's why we are coming with the revolution, because we are tired with the empty promises, false. They come with most of the politicians, they speak they make political statements, which they don't even apply in the ground. So that's why we want to take over now. We want to tell our parents, the older generation, they stay away. It has nothing to do with either Kenya Kwanza or Azimio. It has to do with us.
And that statement asking the other generations to stay away, I'm trying to understand that as well. Allow me to give this gentleman with a green jacket. Why are we asking the other generations to stay away from this process? This is something that involves the whole country.
Thank you very much. My name is Haya Dennis. I represent students with disability across the country. First of all, before I answer your question, let me just wrap from what you are really inquiring from about election. Just to mention that election should be qualitative and quantitative. Meaning, if the process is not qualitative, and if the votes casted are not quantitative, then the election is in question. Thank you. Well, one thing that you have to know, that the definition of a government is it's for the people, by the people, and of the people. We tend to be the people. That is what we believe. We form the majority of the people. And just to take you back a little bit, during the time memorial times when there was no government, according to the social laws of foundation, it states that man donated rights to the government. And these rights were divided into three: legislature, executive, and judiciary. So someone who donates rights can take back the rights when they feel that the rights donated are not well being implemented. Fine. Because we form the majority of the people within this country, Kenya. But the provisions and the policies defines us as the marginalized community. So we are rising from that definition that it is not now anymore. It is the older generation that is now marginalized. And now, a marginalized generation should not stay away when the majority are on rise. So we are on rise because we feel that...
But you are the majority.
We are the majority. But the policies and regulations in this country, if I read you the articles of the Constitution, defines us as the marginalized, as the majority, and the minority. Yeah. But that is not now the question anymore. We are now the majority. And when the majority feels that the powers and the social contract is in breach, then they have the mandate to rise. And when they rise, the voice of majority should be listened to.
Okay.
Fine. Our parents should now stay away because they feel, one, that we may not know a lot. That is not the question. That is not the state as it is now. No, we are more learned. We've gone to school. We've read these provisions. We understand government and governance. We understand politics and its science, and its framework and its system. So when we rise, we don't not rise out of vain. Nowadays, it's us who feeds our parents at home. They actually, because when they had educated us, they expect us to give back to them. How do we give back if our powers that we donated are not being implemented in the right way and the social contract is in breach? Thank you.
Okay. The gentleman in the back in a white shirt, yes. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, I wanted to say something, but before I say something, I wanted to correct my friend over there that in Kenya we have law courts, but we don't have courts of justice.
Okay.
Yes, we only have law courts, but there's no justice in those courts.
Okay.
That's why you see, sometimes the result is known. When you are heading to court, you know the obvious result. Because I even remember in 2017, if I take you back a little bit, the court was very clear that they need a fresh election, free, fair, and credible. But was it free? And then also, now to what I wanted to say, is that there are institutions in the country. Why you see the Gen Z so much concerned, and they have said there's a group that needs to step away. You look at the slogan, I think some of us here, people are running from the truth now, because it's the time the truth is now hitting us so hard. Some of the millennials said that we want to take Raila in Bondo. That is what they were saying sometime towards the election. They didn't know that for Raila is trying to fix them. Some of my friends, we are sitting with them here, some of them were saying, oh, let us take Mzee to Bondo. And today, them say it's very silent. Now it is us to struggle. The struggle that it was to do for us. You see the institutions has changed. Why would the executive want to interfere with the bill in the first place if the bill is supposed to be legislated about by the people we gave our mandate, the MPs? Why will they come in? Why would you see the president is calling the MPs at the time we need the MPs to come and debate on that bill? You see they are being called. Why?
Okay.
You ask yourself, it's called the UDA government. They had a slogan when they were campaigning. I don't know whether they won the election, the court knew that well. But when they were campaigning, there was a slogan they had that Mama Mboga. Are you seeing any Mama Mboga near the government?
Okay. I'm trying to see the relation between the Gen Zs and the other, and we'll come to discuss the nitty-gritties of this other bill that's before Parliament. But we start from the relationship between the Gen Zs and the other generations. And we've had this feeling that the rest should stay away from this fresh agitation. This gentleman, yes.
Thank you, Fred. My name is Kiprono Harap Kirwa. I'm a political strategist. But before I go to the question of the rest should stay away, I just want to respond to my friend here. He is saying he doesn't know whether the government of the day won the election. If you're a good student of history, we can go back to Maina Kiai case in 2017. Voting starts and ends at the ballot. What just happens in Pomas is verification of the results that have been cast at the polling station. And the court pronounced itself on this matter.
And I don't think we should spend too much time on that issue.
Yes, so by the time you want to make this matter into a situation of us versus them, I think we were here to talk about the issues of Gen Z.
Yes.
Now back to your question. You've said the reason why the Gen Zs are saying the millennials and the rest of the people should stay away from this course of what they call revolution in quotes. I don't think it's a revolution anyway. It is because they feel that these millennials are the ones who messed up the country, maybe by voting the government of the day. And I can give you a good example. I have friends whom we were together in school. When I used to tell them, go do registration so that you can be able to vote and make change in this country, the first question they are going to ask is, am I going to be paid to vote? Exactly. Am I going to be paid? So by the
those
time,
are the Gen Zs?
Yes.
Okay.
By the time you have to sit down and say, okay, the rest of the population, you can stay away. But then you need, the reason why I'm saying this is that you need the rest of the population to stay away, and they have equal rights as Gen Zs. They are the people of Kenya. You can only exercise your powers of removing this government as stipulated in Article 1, Clause 1. Only all sovereign power belongs to the people, including Gen Zs. But it can be exercised, yes, and it can be exercised only in accordance with the Constitution. That means it's a lesson to us and those of them who never voted. Go to your IEBC officers in your constituencies and your wards, go register as voters, so that in 2027, you can be able to make change. Another way, you can use your elected representatives, and they don't even trust them. You can go to Parliament, petition Parliament to impeach the government, the president, because Ruto can go. Even Ruto can go. Any president will come. But the question of, do we have a solution as the people of Kenya? Okay. I've always reiterated, in 30 seconds, I've always reiterated that one of the biggest challenges that we have is failure to audit the debts that we have. That is the reason why you see more taxation measures in order to cover up these debts by paying. Okay. So we need to interrogate ourselves as a country. When did the rain started beating us?
Where did the division and the discord between one generation and the others come in?
Mr. Fred, thank you once again. Now, you realize in this moment that we still have a long way to go to educate some of our youths on the best approach for changing our nation. Because I thought we were only youths, but suddenly I realized William Ruto walked in and they started patronizing us and lecturing us. You know, you did not vote properly, you know, you did not do this and that. Now, that is what we are running away from. Secondly, framing, media framing. You know, Fred, you are a very powerful individual. When you speak, people listen. Now, when you say there's a discord, no, there's no discord. Let me dispel that. There is no discord. The young people are energetic. We are strategic. We have information. And we are using those strategy and our energy to help the older generation. Some of these members of the older generation fought for these battles to have a better country. We had a new constitution. Who fought for that? See how millennials. Now, we realized that at some point their energy has waned, and we still have the vibrance and energy. And also because of the availability of information in social media, now we can read everywhere. AI is coming in and making education easier. We know our rights. We know what to call for. Now, the president said that he's even going to recall revise the bill and have a chat with us. If he's shifting goalposts, we'll also shift goalposts. That's why we are saying we have a strategy.
Do you feel like the other generations would slow you down in this agitation? Yes, this gentleman, he hasn't spoken. I'll come to you, Ken, in a while. Okay. The gentleman right behind you. Go ahead.
My name is Matthew Samuel Kongani, the only remnant of Nabongo Mumia King of Wanga.
All right.
Yeah, entrepreneur and a youth leader. So what I can tell you, in my culture, we always say, when you are milking a stolen cow, you are milking while looking at the gate. So our cow was used to be milked by other people. Now it's only time that we have rised up and decided that we are going to take. Yeah? We as young generation, we as young people, we are going to take our positions. What you are supposed to be doing and you are not doing. You remember when I was born in Western, but when you're born, when you're using a left hand, they used to beat you or put their pili-pili so that you don't use it. You start using the right hand. But the moment the right hand starts to work, that's when they realize that you are now part of the family or part of the powerful man or powerful woman. So this moment that we are talking about, it's only that we have started using the right hand. Now we are doing what? We are telling our old parents, our old, even those who are our ancestors, who died long time ago, that it's our time to take the stage. It's our time to make sure that we bring this change. It's not just a change. I can support my brother here. It is a revolution. And I can tell you, whether Zakayo remains on the tree or whether he comes down, we will even cut the tree. Okay. And we'll just make sure that everything changes. We revolutionize everything, because now, as my brother said, mjinga amerevuka. The youth are majority. The youth are those that have numbers. We have information. We have equipped.
Is it possible for us to move forward intergenerationally?
Yeah, it is very, very much possible for us to move forward together. But what is happening now? When Gen Z is rising up and started doing it, even you have seen other members of the parliament, Weshimiwa, those that we call Weshimiwa in quotes, because I think a normal person cannot think the way they are thinking. Because when we are rising up and try to figure out everything that we used to lack, and you are telling us, kwamba pia si tulikuwa hapo. So what does that mean? When you're telling us kwamba pia ulikuwa hapo, why didn't you change everything?
Okay.
Yeah.
On this issue of generation, I think there are two gentlemen who are here to speak. I'd like to hear your voices, and we switch and start discussing something else. Do you have a microphone, Ken?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much, Fred. Allow me just chip in very fast.
Kindly introduce yourself. I know I've mentioned your name, but briefly.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Ken Babu. I'm the Youth Senator in Nairobi County, so all of these are my constituents. And I also serve as a Youth League chairman of a political party. I want to make it clear that first, allow me to respond to Professor Kithure Kindiki, who yesterday spoke passionately about the demonstrations that are scheduled to happen today. I think the good professor should be talking and guiding his men in uniform to provide security and stop attacking peaceful protesters. That is the group that he should be addressing, not us, not the demonstrators. And then he should also advise the IG, Inspector General of Police, to refrain from making such utterance that might ike the protesters. I mean, we are not in the business of fighting the police. We are not in the business of fighting anybody. We are in the business of pushing an agenda. And if you look at the demonstration that happened, from our side, from the civilian side, we've lost 2. The police have lost nobody. And the one who lost his hands while trying to fight people who are protesting peacefully. So I think the good professor and the IG should take note. Fred, I think this is a generational issue, and I want to tell all of us that Generation X is supporting this, Millennials are supporting this, Gen Z are leading this, and Generation Alpha, who are just coming back from school to AFTER, are joining this process. So it's not a business as usual. It's going to be busy, it's going to be serious, and it's going to be serious more than it was before. I want to...
Do you feel that the other generations, probably older than Gen Z, would slow you down in any way?
I want to tell you, Fred, if you look even at the social media, our mothers and fathers are saying that they will join. They cannot allow their sons and daughters to be brutalized by police in the streets. So they are joining the sons and daughters who have identified there is indeed a problem somewhere, and they are trying to put a comma or a full stop to that problem. So I want to tell you that Gen Z are leading the process with the support of Gen X, with the support of Gen Alpha and Millennials.
Okay.
And the baby boomers as well. Fred, let me just put something clear. That the protests that we are seeing are not just about the finance bill. Finance bill is a catalyst of the entire process.
But we thought
let me just put it. Let me just put it out.
That was the whole point.
Allow me put it out. The finance bill 2024 is a catalyst of this process. I mean, the protests that we are seeing. Many people in those streets, some are angered by the forceful demolitions done by this regime. Some are angered by the unbearable university funding model. Some are angered by the pride and arrogance within the government officials. Some are angered by expensive, non-productive trips from the government officials. Majority are angered by the unemployment rates in this country. And then you stand and tell young people, so I heard some members of parliament say that you are roaming around masquerading and you do not have jobs, nobody will employ you. If these people were employed, they could have not been in the streets. They are rioting and they are having that time because they are jobless. So if you want them to relax, then address the issues and make them busy. As I finish, I want to put it clear, because me, I'm saying things that will happen and some have happened. These protests do not have leaders. So the government should not waste time arresting people left, right, and center. The government should focus on identifying the main problem and address the problem. Don't treat the symptoms, treat the disease.
What is the problem if at all you're saying that the reject finance bill is not the main issue? Allow me to give the two gentlemen who are here to speak an opportunity so that we get to hear their voices. Let's start with this gentleman here. Does it mean that even if Parliament today, or the President, if Parliament passes it, if the President decides to send back the Finance Bill 2024 and fail to assent to it, that would not in any way stop this agitation?
Okay, Fred, good morning. My name is Peter Maya. I'm a Kenya Kwanza youth leader. And what I can say, Gen Z, they have a voice. These people are intellectual, they're educated, and I agree with them. And
you're one of them?
Yeah, I can say yes. I'm not running away.
Where are you running? Not sure.
So what I can tell you is that these people have a voice and they have a democratic right to protest against the government. But here, the government has put efforts whereby even our president is ready to listen to them.
To them or to you?
Is he willing to listen to them?
Okay, allow him to continue.
So what I'm saying, according to this finance bill, there's some amendments which have been done. And if they can agree with me, maybe there's some sectors which they feel like they feel so painful to them, and that's why they're trying to be against the government. The government has good willing to these people.
So, Fred, just a second.
No, I allow you, because allow him to speak. Everyone has a voice.
Fred,
okay, calm down.
Just let me put one thing across. Let me put a point. Let me just put a point.
Calm down. Allow him to finish, and each of you will get an opportunity to respond.
That's your problem. You think your voice matters
more. Go ahead.
No. You don't say that.
Don't tell us that. Ladies and gentlemen,
just let me finish, but don't say that.
Yeah.
There's order here.
But Fred, it's so unfortunate.
We can fade out all your microphones and no one will be heard. So please allow him to finish and everyone else will get an opportunity.
Yeah, sure. I think they were given enough time to speak. I think it's my time now. My friend here, Babu, is saying that our CS Kindiki Kinduri is not doing his work. Yesterday, when he was briefing the nation, he said that the Gen Z, they can protest until 6:30 p.m. So you can see even our police are there to protect them.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
I want to hear that gentleman in a sweater there, then we can open up the floor again. Yes.
Thank you so much for having me on the program to discuss the ongoing protests and the finance bill. My very humble name is Dr. Kweyo Isaac. And to begin with...
Speak up, please.
To begin with, first of all, let me make it clear that I'm a seasoned member of the Gen Z. And I must acknowledge the ongoing demonstrations and the expressions of the frustrations by the young people in the country. And I want to urge them. I'm going to join them in a few moments. Yes.
You know, I'm not getting it clear.
No, I'm going to join the young people from here. I'm saying from here, I'm going to Nairobi CBD to join my fellow young people to the demonstration. Members of the Gen Z. I've actually been there. There's a lot of, there are so many police officers already waiting for us for the march. So we are very ready. I'm going there. Let me, it's very difficult and actually frustrating to hear a friend of mine saying that they when the government is forming laws that affect young people, it doesn't form them for the young people who are not in the government or in the ruling party. The laws are formed for all the young people, the youths, including him. He will be affected. Tomorrow he will not be in the position he's holding, and he will be crying for us to join him in some demonstration. So at the moment, we are taking up the roles, and we are not violent in any way. We will remain peaceful. What I want to urge the Gen Z, my fellow Gen Z, is that first of all, let us read the finance bill. I have a copy. Those who may be interested, I will share it to them. So that when we meet on the roads and somebody points you out and asks you why you are demonstrating, at least you have 1 or 2 or 3 things that you can say. These ones are pugnant or poignant.
But listening to Ken, he says the Finance Bill 2024 is not the whole issue, that this was just a trigger. And then the question is, and I've asked this question, what happens if Parliament today, fine, passes the bill and it goes to the President for assent, yet then the President sends it back without assenting it into law? So does it mean that, will that end, will the agitation end, or what will happen?
As you say that it's just a catalyst. That means the other pleas, the other grievances that young people have to the government.
Beyond the finance bill.
Beyond the finance bill. Okay. But at the moment, what is pressing them, what is pushing them harder is the finance bill, or what is included in the finance bill. There are so many things that are included in the finance bill that are very good. We cannot say that the whole of it is bad. But there are some that are very punitive, that we as the young people must come out and say no to
Let's
them.
get clarity here, because it has been reject the finance bill, don't amend, don't edit. So which is which?
Fred, do you know why in the third reading the MPs go through the clauses one by one? It is because everyone has to be given an opportunity to vote each of the clauses according to how they think it is going to impact their voters on the ground. So when my friend says, I support my friend when he says some of the clauses of the finance bill are actually very positive and some of them are quite punitive. However, in my understanding and how I have read and analyzed as a lawyer, some of the sections of the finance bill are very positive. Actually, about 80% of them are very positive. And some of them, which were quite punitive, have actually been amended to, in a bit of a way, favor a common citizen. Which is why for the first time, when during the second reading, the MPs voted almost the best they have voted before. It was 204 against 100 and something. Why? Even members of Azimio voted yes. And there was a member from Busia County who said, I am willing to vote yes against how my party thinks I should vote, because this bill is going to give me 100 million for a level 4 hospital in my sub-county and 34 million for the
So is it reject the bill in total or some parts of the bill? The gentleman in a black shirt. In a black shirt, yes.
Thank you so much. I want to agree with Senator here that the finance bill is just but the catalyst. The good thing is that, as Anthony has just said, that the Gen Zs are very strategic. Right now, our problem is finance bill. When we move forward, when another problem comes, for example, we expect next year the senators will be voting for the division of revenue. Now the question of 1 man, 1 vote, 1 kilometer or 1 shilling.
There will be similar agitation.
There will be similar agitation from the Gen Zs, because they have realized that everything that happens in this country affects them, not just indirectly, but directly. To other issues on finance bill, we have to have, for us to go into a negotiation, we have to have some compromises, of which the Gen Zs, we have said that we don't have any compromise, but in any negotiation, you have to have some compromises, because we have to see there are some good clauses and we have some punitive. Most of us here are rejecting the finance bill because of maybe 1 or 2 things. But if you interact with them very closely, you'll realize that it is just one thing that is agitating all of us. And if they remove that, you'll just see the agitation going down.
Oh, okay. Naipame, you want to say something?
Yeah, so according to the observation of Gen Zs, and rather let me just say for all Kenyans, because even my grandmother is kind of not okay with the bill, and she's my grandma, she's 92 years old. So according to the agitation of Kenyans, the underlying issues are actually three beside the bill. Number one issue that young people and other Kenyans, even in abroad, discuss widely on Saturday on the Twitter space was unemployment. The second issue which was raised is high rate of embezzlement of public funds. And the third issue was that the government has never taken through Kenyans through the process of public debt auditing. Those are the underlying issues, but then the finance bill became the ballistic on the top of the neck. Okay. So for me, my view is that the three underlying issues has to be resolved by the government. The government that I totally support.
Whether or not the finance bill passes?
No. First, because the underlying issues are the three, the finance bill just came in to finish. It's like when you are building a house and then you leave needles on it, then you put a carpet. So you have to remove the needles before you put the carpet. Otherwise, whoever will be walking, they'll still feel the pain. So if the government is willing to create an avenue whereby the young people who have been graduating, at least 65,000 have been graduating each other year, be observed in private sector, government sector, give, empower innovation, disrupt industries, because government cannot employ all the educated people. There are too many. But if they disrupt industries and empower innovation and the green financing that the president has been talking about and fighting for the funds to come to the country, they support young startups, then such startup will take in the rest of the young people, and the rate of unemployment will reduce. Of course, it will not go to zero, but it will reduce. The other issue of embezzlement of public funds, this one, every Kenya has a right, because some of the leaders all of a sudden started wearing the best clothes like their artists, They become Rihanna all of a sudden, and yet they are, let me use my name, they are Naipame, all of a sudden they become, some other international personnel who are, they use their own money. So I believe that when the government also be serious in fighting graft and corruption, and not just the matter of like, I'm going to use an example. There was a politician who was allegedly grabbed 2 billion, but then I saw like he had a private negotiation, quote in quote, with ODPP, and is only willing to return 258 million out of 2 billion. That is crazy. He has to return 2 billion plus the interest, not 200 million. So if that is also going to be settled, then the agitation of so many Kenyans, not actually the agitation, the rights of so many Kenyans will be met in the middle. Okay,
so is it reject finance bill or amend the finance bill? That's a question, because today Parliament will be considering before the committee of the whole House some amendments to this finance bill.
Fred, Gen Zs are saying reject the bill. And from the question that you asked before, Fred, we are living in a country whereby we as young people, we do not have hope. Fred, getting attachment in this country is a whole struggle. Yet we have ministries, we have government offices. Fred, we don't have roads in this country. I saw a tweet somewhere in Samburu, Turkana, whereby even their MPs vote yes when they don't have road. Someone mentioned 46 kilometers of a road since independence. And then their MP goes to vote yes for the bill to tax more the citizens who are not getting access to health. These people are not getting clean water. They are not getting education. Education is a disaster. And then the state is putting us young people into more loans. I mean, we are studying for loans, not guaranteed for jobs. So we even wonder, how are we going to pay these loans? So it's so unfortunate, Fred.
Okay, all right. You're still watching Morning Cafe. Time for us to take a break. We'll continue listening to the voices of a generation, and this is Gen Z. Do stand by for that. And of course, you can be part of this conversation as well through our social media pages.
Israel Mbonyi. Kila kiongozi ana hadithi yake ya kipekee.
Wazazi wangu walikuwa bit strict kwa sababu mamangu mwenyewe, mimi kutoka kuzaliwa sijailala nje.
The white small one, huyo ana sniff gunpowder na risasi na bomb. Alafu huyo mwingine ni Ridgeback ana sniff simba.
Even the employees knows that, so when in the boardroom is the chairman, the CEO, and the rest of...
What point are you a wife?
The minute you get to that, inside that door, you become now the wife.
Na kila maamuzi wanayoyafanya hufichua mengi kuhusu utu wao na uongozi wao.
We see God blessing us, and we now realize the power of giving also has to be rewarded back.
Kupitia kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, tunakuletea mahojiano ya kusisimua na uchambuzi wa kina kuhusu viongozi wetu.
Pick your core business as the bigger stones. Put them in your diary first. Give priority the bigger things.
Usikose kila Alhamis saa 1:30 jioni. In a world where challenges are as common as opportunities, there are those who dare to defy the odds. They are the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship isn't just about starting a business, it's about embracing uncertainty, pushing boundaries, and turning dreams into reality.
Hata ambao ni pesa ya kusave, wallahi. Ambao mwaka ni pesa nyingi sana.
As long as you're earning something, there's always that opportunity to save. And you start with where you are.
The way we run the business is in a very unforgiving way, where every team member has to bring out their best.
So, to all the dreamers, innovators, and risk takers out there, remember, being an entrepreneur isn't just a job, it's a way of life. Join the journey. Become an entrepreneur. The Grind, Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Here on Beyond the Limit, we celebrate the extraordinary achievements of individuals who redefine possibility.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV47. You continue listening to the voices of a generation, and I can tell you, it's getting uncontrollable in studio during the break. Things that were not said before are being said during the break. But we continue, and before the break, we're examining especially the issue of intergenerational relationship between the Gen Zs and the older generation especially. I'm sure the Gen Alpha probably, you may have a softer spot for them. Now we want to move to that discussion that you brought up, the issue of expenditure and corruption. Let's talk about that. And if we may go back and look at it from a layman's perspective, quoting the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, this country loses about 2 billion shillings to corruption every day. A rough estimate, in a year, that would be about 700, actually almost 800 billion shillings. The finance bill that we're talking about right now was only intended to raise about 340 billion. So the argument would be, if at all there was consistent anti-graft war, even if it was 50%, only 50% successful, then that would be able to bridge the gap. How come that is not the conversation we are having? The gentleman at the back.
Thank you very much. I think the problem you're having as a nation, number one, bad governance. Number two, the state capture that the Kenya Kwanza cried before they got into power. They've led us back then. The question I'm having to ask, Bwana Fred, can Satan be baptized to be Christ? We've had financial bills before. Have we ever benefited from them? No. If you come to where I come from, South Mugirango constituency, my area MP walks around with DSC letters. Now the question is, he always tells me, your clan never voted for me. If my clan never voted for him, Am I sure I'm going to be employed with my Kiswahili geography?
How did you know that your clan did not vote for him?
No, these things
He says that our clan never voted for him. Now, such a person, how safe are we in his hands, even if the financial bill is amended? How safe are we? We are not safe. It is more than the financial bill.
Okay. Exactly. And are we let me not say we, because I'm not a Gen Z.
You're a millennial.
I am a millennial.
You're part of this.
I'm part of the problem. How come this is not the conversation we're having? If at all the administration comes and says, okay, fine, we are, as part of the concession, we are going to consistently fight corruption, and these are the measures we are going to take, would that be a conversation you're willing to be part of?
Well, as I mentioned before, Fred, we are strategic, and we are wise and learned. Now, we cannot dress a wolf in the clothing of a sheep and bring it back and say, now we'll have to pass in. That's why we have to warn our friends who have been in the government, who have fed from the hand of the government, that when you eat with the devil, use a long fork, because it might turn against you very quickly. Now, the conversation about amending the bill and recreating it to look like a beauty, a thing of wonder, and then all of a sudden we might be fooled again and adopt it and use it now to press us. The assertion is that we reject it in totality, and the reason we reject it in totality is because we do not trust even an inch the people who are in those offices to try and implement it. They are not committed to stopping corruption. The leadership of the country is not doing any development project, so there are no employment opportunities. They are interested in collecting money to fund the 2027 elections. And because of that, no one is working with the government. So we are not going to be fooled by a beautiful bill that has been amended in Parliament to insert beautiful clauses, and then they hope that we are going to be taken into the cycle that we are stepping out of. That's why I mentioned we are strategic.
Okay, allow me to take another poll quickly by a show of hands, because now it would appear there's a division here. How many are saying reject the bill in total by a show of hands? Reject. How many are saying amend the bill? So it's about 50-50.
Yeah.
Yes?
No, it's not.
Fred,
okay. Let's listen to this lady. What do you say?
The mic.
I'm saying reject the entire bill. So let's start from before amendment. These people sat down to tax pads. I know they're going to say, oh, tumetoa mkate, tumetoa. Now we get deeper into the document. We are seeing the expenditure, the allocation of these funds. We have an office of, which I don't know who brought it up, of the First Lady, with a whole 600 million. Yet Linda Mama imetolewa. We have the deputy's office handling something to do with drugs. Don't we have Nakada? Who's fooling who?
524.
You want to amend, now you will tell us, oh, we've removed bread, we've removed pads. First, shame on you for even thinking about it. For putting it there in the bill, for us to come and then now umetoa kidogo, you forget that we are reading where our lands, I don't own a shamba. My father does. This is how it goes down to every generation. But you want them to lease their land. This is colonialism. Tell me why we have white people supervising the process in parliament. Are we reliving? This is Moi's time.
Okay.
So just give me some time. Yeah? So this entire bill, in totality, it shows you from where it comes, it was already a problem. The expenditure, the way you're doing allocation is an entire problem. And that's what we have a problem with. Because even if we allow it to pass, we know the implementation won't be. And worse is how they're responding to our cries. We go to the street to tell them, oh no, we are not agreeing to this and that. A whole MP who's actually a murderer picks up and says, oh, they're being sponsored by Illuminati. Those are the people leading us. So how do you expect me to trust that even if you amend the bill, they're going to have some humanity in them to do the right thing? We tell people it's our right to demonstrate. We are not comfortable with this. A woman goes and asks, what will a 19-year-old do to me? that Morang, is it Thika woman? Yeah. That 19-year-old, you reduced funding for their education. Now we have less than 20% of youth reporting to university. Right now, to study medicine here in UN, it's 600,000. How many will afford that? Is that the mama mboga you promised? Of course not.
Okay.
You've made education expensive, then you want to ask a 19-year-old, why are you going to the streets? The 25-year-old who's just started earning a salary, you're cutting half of it to go into your pocket so that you wear a belt worth $500,000.
Okay.
We are not the fools here.
So let's listen to one argument about amending and not rejecting. Who's that? This gentleman here.
Yeah, I think, Jennifer, you are right, and that's one of the amendments which was done about the birds. And what maybe I can say to our president is that we have large production of bananas maybe in Kisii and Nyamila and Meru. So maybe it can establish two industries. Maybe one in Mount Kenya and one in Kisii and Nyamila. I think by doing this, we will absorb more youths to get jobs.
Okay. Let's listen to the gentleman at the back. Let's listen to the gentleman at the back in a black suit.
Thank you, Fred. The reason as why we are rejecting the bill, we want to go back to drawing board. First thing, the 11.1 trillion will affect the Gen Z. We are the one who will pay. So we want to have a proper audit on how this Nini is paid, how it was spent. If there is no proper audit, we can't pay that because 61% of the tax they are raising, they'll go back to servicing the debt. So that is the first. And then you see, most of the allocation should be done in the industries, empowering, creating job or employment. And also, they should do, you cannot say you are taxing import. And most of us, in Kenya is not self-sufficient. It cannot produce, for example, in the agricultural sector. We are not self-sufficient. In the service industry, we cannot do enough. If you see the power itself, there is a lot of, even the Kenya Power itself doesn't know how to, they give you a different bill, they do guesswork. So even if you start an industry today, there's no factors of production.
Okay.
You see the Nini itself, the atmosphere of doing business in Kenya is very unfavorable. And you see most of the people are running away from Kenya. They are going to Uganda because you sign there. Even the youth ourselves, the previous generation, they have taken everything. If you see all the corridors, they are there taking over. They don't want us to see us taking over.
Okay.
So it is our time now. We have the knowledge. We are educated. We have seen it happening. Okay. So it is a selective breeding between us because we are the only one who are affected.
Okay, let's listen to Chirchir. Amend or reject?
Amend. Number one, I want us to learn something. Number one, how does the finance bill begin? It is a proposal by the Treasury, just for the sake of us to understand. It is not made in the Parliament as a first priority. Point number two is that I want to speak to some facts, and I think some of us are having opinions which are not factual. For example, when my sister mentions that university funding has been cut, and in some of the universities, like UN, it is true, it is 600,000, but it was intentional. Let me just explain slightly what that means. You know, before, universities used to be funded as a general. University like you could say, our funding for this year, we need, like, assuming it is 10 billion for this year. There was a problem of audit and stuff, and it was a situation where money could easily be lost. But now, as a student, you are being given your own bill. Like, if it is 600,000, the government will now be aware that your course costs 600,000. Now, it will be hard to steal the resources. Why? Because the government will be funding your course as a student, not the university in general. Now, what will happen is that you are going to be given 50% of the funding and then 50% as loans, which is why you see for the first time, Fred, students, first-year students are receiving up to 113,000 as help loans.
Which students?
My friend, come on.
Have you received?
Those are facts. Those are facts.
Okay.
Let me just speak to it.
And let's allow him to finish.
Up. Let me finish up. For the first time, students are receiving help up to 113,000. No, myself, I had 40,000 help in my time. But for the first time, this funding is giving us an opportunity.
You pay that. With no
It
job.
is only. It is only.
Okay. Let's listen to Dennis.
Because I'm
Dennis.
in business, I do not believe in
Dennis.
jobs.
How will you pay that?
Dennis, you had raised your hand. Go.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Reject or amend?
Fred, let me answer.
The microphone.
Sorry. Hey, thank you very much. What we're talking about here is a finance bill that, before we raised our voices, otherwise it would have been passed the way it is.
Exactly.
Now, after we've read it and we've told them, fine, here and here as a problem. No, they want to amend, replace with even unrealistic provisions that they are replacing with the provision of 37, section 37 in the previous one, which there was no such kind of provision. You get the point? So what we are saying here, if something was bad in totality, then we must replace it fully, everything, so that we have we start from a fresh ground. Because when they were making this finance bill, it did not start from Parliament, as my learned friend is saying. I studied law. It started from the economic practitioners, and it's a proposal. So this proposal did not gather any public participation. So the problem even started with not abiding to the doctrine of public participation, which states that the people who are directly or indirectly majorly affected by the administrative action or decision making should be involved in that process entirely. Now, for example, just to make a hinge, if they were putting a bill on a tax on pads and even diapers, mothers who are raising these children, women who are actually going through this natural course, were not involved. Because if it is true that these ladies would have been involved, that provision would not have been there otherwise. So it started from a point of not involving the people who are directly affected. I represent the persons with disability, children with disability, women with disability. So when you look at these provisions in totality, Fred, it does not favor us, right? So what we are coming up with as a solution, let us drop it, then let us start afresh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Allow me just pick it from where my good friend Wakili Haya has left. And first say that from where I sit, I reject it in totality. And I want to tell my friend Wakili Chirchir, he's a good friend of mine, by the way, that it is not a war between those who are outside the government and those who are inside the government. In fact, we who are outside the government, we are defending majorly our fellow colleagues who are inside the government who have refused to speak to their government. So to tell the government the truth. So we are speaking on their behalf. So Wakili, we are not fighting you and we are not against you. We're just saying that from where we sit, we've noted a problem and this is the problem and need to be addressed. Second to that, Wakili has mentioned clearly that the process was wrong from the beginning. And if the process is wrong, then it means that the end product will be wrong. So we must address the process, we must go back and start the process from the onset and make everything right, and then as we progress. Somebody said about public participation, but on the long run, for the longest time, we've been participating in public. We don't do public participation because anyway, do our views count as a people? We don't. Our views do not count. And one of the members of parliament mentioned that in those public participations, when they reach parliament, those views do not hold water. So we want to indoctrinate the aspect of public participation in those views be taken seriously. Fred, these were proposals from Treasury, and then somebody mentioned that we can as well have the alternative of recalling members of parliament. That process is not easy as people might say. But again, we're asking, because in that process, if you look at it, the IEBC is involved. The Speaker of Parliament is involved, National Assembly. And the question now is, as to now, we do not have the IEBC, who is going to, to escalate the process. Now, if that process, suppose the IEBC was there, and that process reaches the Parliament, do we have a speaker who will declare that seat vacant? Do we have that speaker? So you see, that's why I said the finance bill is just but a catalyst of why people are protesting. There are many critical things in this country that are making people angry, sad about the entire situation. As I finish, I want to say this, because this might be my parting shot. Colleague young people who are in the government, this is a generational war. William Ruto and his generation, they did what they were supposed to do. Raila Odinga and his generation, they did what they were supposed to do. Oginga Odinga and Jaramogi and Kenyatta's, each and every generation has a responsibility to do something. Okay. And it is their will, it is within their powers to decide to do and achieve it or betray the process. And that's why Generation Z, with the support of Generation X, Alpha, and Millennials, are stepping up to say that Generation Z will not betray this process. We are putting our best feet ahead to put this country in the right direction. Okay. In terms of the governance, development, corruption, we must bring it down. Okay. And if that guy is not going to come down, we will cut the tree.
And I don't know why you went to your parting shot. We still have about half an hour to go. Let's kindly exchange the microphone with someone else who has a different mic.
Thank you. So as a seasoned member of the Gen Z, I'd like to urge my other fellow members of the Gen Z that we cannot win this war if we are less informed or misinformed.
Let me go back to the question I asked. Reject or amend? Amend. I need to know where you're coming from. Amend.
Amend.
Okay.
And my friend here, the senator, is telling us to restart the process. Constitutionally or legally, that is called amending. He's only supporting amending, but using so many words.
Exactly.
So we should amend the Constitution. First of all, I was saying the young people must be informed. First of all, go through the document. Understand what is there, so that when you are going to the streets, you know what you are fighting against or what you want. So we amend. We change what is good. The financial bill is not a report card. It's not a university transcript. It is not a WhatsApp chat or a screenshot. It is a legal document that should involve all stakeholders, the voters, the lawmakers, and other even international stakeholders. So as young people, the Gen Z, if we have to be different from other generations, and if you have to show the way, we should not just demonstrate without the information. So if we must be equipped fully, as my friend Masu will say, that we have a strategy. How will you have a strategy when you are less informed or misinformed? The majority who are opposing the bill are misinformed. The majority who are supporting the bill have not even read it, or it is because of the political affiliations. I am a member of the UDA, so I support. I'm a member of Azimio, I oppose. I did not read it, and the president has promised 100 million, so I support. We should not do that. As the Gen Z, let us be sitting down, let us be the ones sitting down, those who are misinformed and less informed, and teach them what is in the bill, and amend the bill, and have a better bill for us.
Okay, the gentleman
there. Fred, thank you again. And it's very sad that we are with some people here who are, I don't know how they are not millennial, they are not the Gen Zs, but they are here to do they are here to do what is called glorification of the tyranny. Somebody wants to be here so that the Murkomen will see them and tell them, oh, you did well for me on my behalf. Someone want to be here so that Sudi will tell them, I'll give you a courtesy call, which personally I don't need actually. We are here to tell whoever is there that we are rejecting it in totality, because we want a country that will be peaceful, and the Gen Z is not. Our tribe is the youth. I told you as we were starting that our tribe is the youth. I don't want to tell people where I come from. That will not help them. But I want to tell them that the Dorcas Nini that has been put in that bill, we don't need it. It's not going to help us in any way. If you look at the CSS that are there in the country, do you think Gidero belongs to Mama Mboga in any way? Do you think Gumbo belongs to Mama Mboga in any way? Those are the rejects that people told them in the ballot that they are not fit for to lead at that moment. And you see, they're the ones who have been brought up to be the CSS. Look at the allocation that is being given to those officers. What are they doing? What are they doing to Kenyans? So that's where we need to start our conversation, not telling us we've not read the bill. If my friend here, who is a lawyer, I'm sorry, I'm a street lawyer. I'm not a lawyer by profession, but I'm a street lawyer. And I'm a lawyer at the agency, and I know in the next 2 hours, I'll be up there waiting. I think they will be waiting for us, because those tear gas were bought with our tax that we paid. We need to drink the tear gas well.
Consume it as well.
Yeah, we are going to consume it well. And I'm sure I consumed last week. And today you can see me, I don't even have a suit. I am fully prepared.
Okay.
From here, I will be in the street. And I want to tell my friends, if you came here to make your... Don't tell... I've seen my friend who has just spoken, the last one, saying, oh, somebody's rejecting, oh, he's from Azimio, somebody's from UDA. My own MP, who I voted for, who was given the ticket of ODM, and others were told never to step anywhere, rejected the bill.
Okay.
And I think what these guys are telling us, if they wanted to amend the bill, they would have not called the MPs in some room, in State House, sit with them, give them some money, then they get back and tell us, you've not read the bill, he has not read the bill, you are only doing what is called an afterthought. We are not doing an afterthought. We have read the bill and we are saying, reject the bill in its totality.
Okay. Let's
take it back to the sender.
Okay.
So Fred,
before
I support the amendments to the bill, but before I proceed there, I believe everyone here came here with their conscience. And they speak their mind. There's no point of referring to a colleague here that, you know, you've been sent by the Sudis and the Murkomens of this world.
It's true.
Okay,
everyone speaks their conscience.
Let's not be condescending. Let's allow everyone to speak here.
Everyone has an opinion, and your opinion is right according to your conscience, according to how you think. But first, I support the amendments. But if there is a person who supports the allocations to the office of the president, is me, because of one thing. These people are forgetting to know that there is an aspect of the state and there is an aspect of the people. The state, the head of state is the president. The head of state, whom we gave him powers through our votes, is acting on our behalf. He is the driver of the Kenya's foreign policy, right? For Kenya to achieve its foreign policy in the East African region and the Great Lakes region and the Horn of Africa, and to project its image as a destination to the world, we need allocations. The president cannot move by vehicle while attending a UN summit, right? So there's no point. Listen, you will be given a chance. There's no point of telling us that we should not allocate. Office of the First Lady is established under the law. It is part of the presidency. The Deputy President is part of the presidency. Office of the Second Lady is under the... by virtue of the Deputy President being part of the presidency, it means even Dorcas is a state officer. And
allow him to finish, please.
Let me finish up. You see, this kind of heckling is what we saw in 2022. It's the same thing. So, part of the things that I support to be amended is the tax on sanitary towels and things like motor vehicle tax.
Okay.
Because we need to look at the effect of this motor vehicle tax to the per capita income. And the effect of those per capita income in the purchasing power of the households in the economy. That is when now we go and say that the taxes will be trickling down. If you impose an equal levy, the taxes will be trickling down to the common mwananchi. Okay. So by the time we have to agree, we have to amend. Finance bill is not an event, it's a process.
Okay.
So for you to say you want to reject the bill that is already in the second reading, what you should be doing is urging the president to reject the bill by himself by not appending the signature and refer back to the National Assembly.
Thank you very much, Fred. My brother has said here clearly that we are here out of our own conscience, but then we don't have to come on our national television to spread rumors. You cannot tell us that these allocations are well to the citizen and stuff. And Fred, a river cannot flow higher than the source. We are the source. We as citizens are the source of this river called Kenya. So anything that is happening at the top has to relate well with us, the people. I am a political scientist, Fred, and for a state to be a state, there are 4 main components. And among these components, there must be a permanent population. And we are the population who gets to a contract to elect the president. The presidency is supposed to serve us, the population. Fred, what affects us most is our priorities. I am not an engineer, but how do you allocate 6 million to renovate a 4 million house? What's the difference between that and selling this house and just construct a new house? I mean 400 million to 600 million. That's not logical. So our priorities in a way are messing us a lot. And I feel like young people, the effect of big man syndrome, I can see it even here, the big man syndrome. Yeah. Because you cannot just come here and talk as if you are not in this nation. You're having a utopia and we need to remove that in our mind. And then lastly, Fred, Professor Kithure Kindiki, advise your guys. I mean, we are going to streets with phones, not stones. How do you tear gas a body? No, Fred, how do you tear gas a body? No, we are not, we should not go
Good question. How do you tear gas a body?
How do you?
The gentleman in a black shirt, that'll come to you now.
Thank you so much. I was really...
Reject or amend? You are amend?
I'm amender.
You are not sure.
Okay. I want to introduce another aspect that we have really deviated from. You asked about our expenditure as a country, and I was looking at the appropriation bill. I see that we have really an over-ambitious budget, so such that you see the finance bill raises money to fund the expenditure. Mm-hmm. Now, if we have an over-ambitious expenditure estimates, it will definitely trickle down to how we collect this money. Mm-hmm. Okay, I would relook at it in this way. If we expect our expenditure to be like 4 trillion, and KRA can only raise 3.4, so we have to borrow 0.6 billion, which means that our debt, which Freddie has just talked into, will have to spike up. So we have to, when we realize we are in a hole, we should stop digging. How can we start this process of stop digging? We have a budget that is not very ambitious. I was hearing Honorable Junet Mohammed in Bunge was saying that, for example, the Ministry of Roads is allocated a lot of money, but midway, you see, Ministry of Roads is mainly development. It does not have really a lot of money in recurrent expenditure. You see that midway the financial year, you come and see some supplementary amendments to reduce the budget. Mm-hmm. Because we have realized that we are not able to raise this money, and also we cannot borrow to that money. The biggest problem in Kenya is expenditure. You cannot have a house renovate a house using 600 million and you build it. You see, those things don't add up. And again, we can see that, for example, we have to have a way that we can really build an economy that sustains itself. How can it sustain itself? We have to stop borrowing. How can we stop borrowing? We have a less ambitious expenditure. How can we have a less ambitious expenditure? We look into the pressure that we put into our legislators. For example, when my MP comes, I come from Nakuru Town East constituency in Nakuru County. When my MP comes, I have to put pressure on him. We need this road, we need this hospital. When he goes to Bunge and he sees that the budget estimates are too much on hospitals, he will vote yes to this finance bill. So we should stop this pressuring our MPs to bring so much development that we are unable to raise in terms of revenue. If you want more development, we should be able to pay more taxes. And Benjamin Franklin said that nothing is certain except death and taxes.
All right. And let's do this now as we come to the end of the show. And I can see a clear division between those who say amend and those who say reject. But now it's going forward. I do not know what will happen today or what will happen in the coming week. I want it to come from you. As you said, it is a Gen Z who are leading this. So I'll give each one of you an opportunity to say something as your parting shot. I know Ken jumped the gun. He always does that from time to time. But each one of you will get an opportunity, starting with you, Naipame. Give your parting shot and give a way forward for the Gen Zs and the other generations in this country.
Let me start by saying words said by a wise man who owns X, where most campaigns are done. He wrote it yesterday that anyone who claims that, let me put in this state, an affiliated group does no wrong, or the other, which is against you, do no right, is either a liar, a fool, or both. Elon Musk wrote that yesterday. So let me go to my parting shot and my final views on the situation. It is true that the young people are suffering, no jobs. It's true that we don't get tenders. And it's also true that we are the minority according to the Constitution of Kenya. So the parting shot is that the existing legislature to find a space that it will allow the young people to be involved in these processes, and also that constitution, that part where it puts women, PWDs, and youth has never been a good part in my own view. Because how can we be inclusive in a space that is minor and we are 58% of the population? So going forward about the finance bill, saying reject in totality is just same as saying amend in totality. It's just that the words are not the same, but it's the same thing. So the amendment that were done on 18 and the document was released, it was fused from 193 bodies, private and public sectors, and individuals who went for public participation and wrote down. So as long as you didn't write during that period, I don't think if it was captured, because according to the document, they have stipulated all the parts, like these people raised this, these were their issues, they say they delete, we have agreed to delete, they say they delete, we have not agreed. The document is out there, each one can look onto it. So the final thing is, now that we have three major underlying issues, we are hoping that, we're looking for that the three bodies that governs this country, because this is a country that's run by law and order and under the Constitution of 2010, no one is above it. And every Kenyan has a right to believe in or not believe in. And every Kenyan has the right to be included in the development of the country. So moving forward, we are hoping that the government will find a solution to the underlying issues, not only to the young people, but also to regional balances.
Okay.
And then the people who are against the bill and those who are for the bill should find a neutral point where each side will feel that I am comfortable because this person just has the same right as this person. So I'm hoping that that convergence will come out going forward from here. And I hope that we will build Kenya, not destroy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll ask each one of you to keep it to about 60 seconds so that everyone gets an opportunity.
As I come to an end, I just want to urge my fellow Gencis, because I'm opposed to the levies on sanitary pads and motor vehicle. I will be joining you on the streets also. So, because it's my right to be on the street anyway, I see how Ken Babu has seen me as if I do not demand, I don't have a right to be in the street. I have a right by virtue of being a Kenyan. So, we will be there. It's time for a national conversation. It's time to speak about, to audit our national debts. It's time to speak about how we are able to move forward with Project Kenya. Looking forward to a greater future as a country. And as I end, I leave you with a quote by the former US President Barack Obama. He said, and I quote, "Strongest democracies flourish from frequent and lively debates, but they endure when people of every background and belief find a way to set aside smaller differences they have in service for greater purpose." Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time, Fred, and for the show. So as I come to conclusion, I could say that, by the way, I haven't seen that you, the media, updating about Eurobond. By the way, the government cleared the 257 billion before the deadline. Yeah.
Restructured or refinanced?
It cleared.
Just refinanced.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, we'll clarify
that. So majorly, I can say that our president is ready to listen us, and even our leaders are ready to listen us. And this is the message you are supposed to spread to our youths down there. Again, we should keep inserting about our leaders. Instead of we can engage them instead of inserting them in the media, social media. That's quite unfortunate for us youths. So thank you for your time. I appreciate for you youths.
Thank you.
Once more, Emmanuel and my people from Budalangi have requested me to remind them that I am the president of Abanyala University Students Association, that is in Budalangi. So my last words is that, first, before I just come to my parting shot, I wanted to say this, that some of members of parliament are using the innocence of our people back in the village as a stepping stone. You know, telling an old mama that we need to pass a bill for you to get a road. It's like manipulation in a way. So our government is necessary not because man is naturally bad, but because men are more individualistic. So we request those who get advantage to be in government not to be individualistic, but to be social. And for the young people, let us come out. If we decide that we want to liberate our nation, those who are taking law, kindly offer us legal services. Those who are in political science like myself, let us come out and talk about this. Those who are taking medicine, provide the services. Those who are in catering, give us the food on street, and let this be our common agenda. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ken, I'll skip you for now. I know you had already given your final thoughts. Let's go to the lady. You can look at this one.
Yeah. So to our MPs, our expectation is that you vote no.
Kindly give her a microphone.
Sorry, you almost missed me. To our MPs, we're expecting you to vote reject against the finance bill. Mmekuwa ground weekend, mmekuwa kwa makanisa, you've had us. To our police, you saw what happened to your friends. Yeah? So Kenya mnatafuta kitawaramba. To my generation, mbebe iPhone, mtumie Uber, KFC has a package, tukutane town. Lazima tupambane, lazima we reject this thing. So reject finance bill.
All right.
I must say this has been a great crossover between the accountants and the activists. So I want to urge the government that it must not arrest, intimidate, or kill the Gen Z protesters That is one way of expressing their interests. And to the Gen Z, who I'm going to join after this interview, I will be supplying PDFs of the bill during the demonstration so that at least people have points of argument even in the demos. Thank you, very important.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Bwana Fred, for this moment. First of all, I would like just to say that every youth has a right, and no one should be denied at any point. So it's not all about individual interest, but it's all about the interest of entire nation. So as our fellow brothers and sisters, we shall be going for the demos today. We're not going there just to show ourselves that we are there, just like my fellows who are planning to go there just to make sure that because they are young and they are looking at their ID, they are falling in that bracket, so they just want to associate with themselves with that. They don't understand the real pain that normal Mwananchi is going through. And to wrap it all, I will just want to say that our leaders who are on top position in the government, kindly, we voted for you. We put you there in those positions just to represent us. So do what you are supposed to do. We know maybe you will make sure that this bill passes by all means, but we want to assure you that maybe this will be your last moment of happiness, maybe just to be in those positions. Okay. Just to remind my people, I'm the only remnant of Nabongo Mumia, king of Wanga, and from this moment moving forward, we are going to revive everything and revolutionize everything. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. My last plea to the Gen Zs, or to us as Gen Zs, we should be enhancing democracy, and by and large we should be very able to tolerate contrary opinion to what we believe. Instead of us, when somebody is countering your argument, you start bashing him, demonizing him. It is really not good. It is not giving at all. So we should enhance democracy by accepting that there are people who may not agree with us, and that is their democratic right, and we are there to defend it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. As I had mentioned before, I represent the persons with disability, and just to give a consolation to a police officer whose hand got amputated, will ensure that the rights and the policies with the framework of disability are well catered for him, and he gets compensation. For myself, my people whom I represent, their voices are going to be heard today in the streets and even here. And let us take carefully, and let us not get maimed when we are having this demonstration. That is not to be enhanced by our police officers. Let them not be vigorous. Let them not be too much thorough on us, because we will be very peaceful. And moving forward, I hope that people will be very much equipped as far as finance, as far as public finance and planning is concerned, as far as bill and finance bill is concerned, laws are concerned, and even governance and politics and its science. So that when we are having a framework, when we're having a platform where we talk out of information, we talk very genuine concerns, not rumors that out of any agitation or any emotions. Because from emotion, that is when you will get injured even when you're on street. So thank you very much for this session, and we're looking forward to get more informed and inform the public more. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Fred, for this opportunity. I remain Kalepol. I want to tell the MPs, the 215, that those who voted yes, the 215, I know 3/4 of them have not even read the bill. But I want to tell them to revisit the Chapter 1 of the Kenyan Constitution, that the sovereignty belongs to us, and we will be there no matter what in 2027. We will show them in the ballot that they are not worth it. but we are worse than what they are doing to us. The injury they are causing the country today, we will remind them in 2027. Come 2027, we will tell the UDA government that enough is enough. And we want to tell the whole country that the Gen Z has no leader. Any moment that somebody is going to be the leader of the Gen Z, we
Not
are
even
going
the
to
Illuminati.
We will going to eliminate you. We are the only leader for Gen Z is God, and the demand for Gen Z is reject the bill in its totality.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. My party shot, before I give my party shot to the government of the day, we elected them and we have a mandate to correct them where they go wrong. So they should focus more on improving the essential services such as healthcare, education, among others. And also to the MPs who are serving their own interests, even if they are loyal to the president, they must not dispense their logical thinking. And to the Gen Z, I urge them to go visit their constituency. They take they register as a voter, and that is the only way they can do away with the bad governance. And 2027, we are occupying the parliament.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. 60 seconds, please.
Okay. Tolerance is the language of tyrants. Peace is the rhetoric of a war leader. By constantly advocating for calming down the voices of reason and the cry for help and consideration, we are being told that we don't care about you. And that is why we will continue occupying the streets until the government decides that they want to listen to us. We will ensure that we raise our voices louder until they stop sending their agents to try and threaten us and calm us down, until they stop telling us to not demonstrate beyond certain times. We will continue agitating. As I leave, I want to pray for the youth who are going to the streets today, and I want to hope that God will protect them, because this revolution has been endorsed by God and is supporting it in totality, and we will be there no matter what. They will not believe. They will not believe.
Thank you very much, Fred, for having me here. And I just would like to read a statement from a political man called Ibrahim Babangida. He said that there are no doubts that the situation in the country today indicates that there is much work to do in the process of reforming the political economy and improving the quality of life of our people and communities. I want to thank the Gen Zs for going out there, for expressing their democratic right, for protesting against what the government is doing, because it is their democratic right. I will be joining you shortly, and I want to express our sincere gratitude to TV47 for giving an opportunity to Gen Zs to express their views and to discuss this matter with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Voices of a generation. I want to request us that as we go back to our constituencies to take our votes, let us use a language that is well understood by the millennials, by the Generation X. You see, Tanzania, when the bill was being read, it was read using the language that most of them understood well. Most of us, we don't understand English, and I'm one of them. Two, I'm requesting the president of this country, Bwana William Samoei Ruto, please, the independence of legislature, the independence of judiciary, very important to this nation moving forward.
All right.
Lastly, Thomas Sankara says this: for change to take place, one requires a certain degree of madness. And now, let us acquire that madness. Christopher Nyakundi Thomas is my name, Senator 2027, Kisii County.
Wow. All right. I'd like to invite the gentleman at the far corner to come here and grab a mic and come here so that you can also give us your feeling. He's from Nakuru. Or just walk this way. Just walk this way. Just walk this way and stand right here,
Fred,
next to the screen.
Where's my parting shot?
I'll give you an opportunity, Ken.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead and give us your parting shot.
Okay. I'm Barasa Daniel. Currently residing in Nakuru, but I'm coming from Trans Nzoia County, county number 026. Yeah? Okay, I want to give my views. Yeah? And my first view I'll give to the police who are there trying to strike our demonstrators on the streets. I just want to tell them one thing. We Gen Zs who are on the streets, we are demonstrating not only for ourselves, not only for our mothers, not only for our grandfathers and for our grandmothers who are unable to go to the streets. We're also demonstrating for them. Currently, they're having issues with salaries. Yeah, right? They are being underpaid. I saw the other day they're talking about the medical health covers and some other issues. So the time when we have these demonstrations on the streets, and then like you want to shoot them. You know, there is that saying in Swahili that says that mfanyie mwenzie yale ambayo ungetarajia ungefanyiwa. Kwa hivyo, one thing that I want to tell them is that they just try and think, if someone was shooting the bullets towards their kids, how would they feel? We are there demonstrating not for us, but also for them, right?
All right.
And then another thing that I'll say, maybe it's the president of this country, President Ruto. Maybe he might be having good plans for this nation, but his worksmen are letting him down, right? We have no issues with giving out tax or revenues. Of course, there are two types of taxes. We have the direct and indirect. I might be not contributing directly into the taxes, but indirectly I'm contributing towards the revenues. So, hatutaona mbaya iwapo tutakotoa kodi, lakini kodi yetu ikitolewa ilindwe vizuri, isiwe kwa kapu ambayo limetoboka. Yani, tukishatoa kodi ina reflect in terms of services. We are getting quality education, we are getting quality health services. We are having sustainable transport infrastructure. So we have no issues with that. Hata kama mtu atapeleka mshahara wa mkia wa mbuzi nyumbani, hana tatizo. Lakini sasa, we are being taxed, but it's not reflecting in terms of services. We must demonstrate on the streets. It's our democratic right. And to our Gen Zs, one thing that I want to also to emphasize on is that let us actualize this thing, yeah? Isikuwe tu ni stories hapa na pale nini. Let us actualize this thing.
Okay.
We can. Asante.
Asante. Finally, can you wrap it up for us?
Thank you so much, Fred, and I want to appreciate TV47 for giving this platform to the young people to at least express their voices and communicate to the public and the regime the position of a generation. I would like to put it out clear in reference to Martin Luther King, who said that freedom is never given voluntarily by the oppressor, but instead the oppressed must fight for it. So the Gen Z and the generation has been oppressed, and they are stepping out to fight for that freedom. And I want to also officially welcome our colleagues from the Kenya Kwanza side, who after this conversation have seen the light of the day and have actually found it imperative to step out and say the truth to this government. My brothers, congratulations and welcome to the regime, welcome to the revolution, welcome to the part that has, to the section that I decided that it's a life of truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you so much, and I want to also tell us that tupatane mashinani, tupatane kwa ground, and for the MPs, the 115 who voted no, congratulations. You guys took a very bold step to go against the status quo, and the majority who decided to go to bed with the regime, we are telling you that you have an opportunity to change your mind. Failure to which, we will force you to change your mind.
All right.
That's it is. Viva vijana viva.
Viva.
Viva vijana viva. Reject in totality. Reject in totality.
Reject. All right, there you have it. Voices of a generation. We still wait to see what will happen today. Today being the 25th of June, 2024, the National Assembly, the Committee of the Whole House will be considering proposed amendments to the Finance Bill of 2024. But as he said, and you heard them, reject in totality the bill. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for having time to come to TV47 and for sharing your thoughts. And of course, the conversation will continue, including coverage of the protests, the expected, anticipated protests later today, and whatever will be happening in Parliament. Morning Cafe still continues after the break with other discussions. Don't go too far. My name is Freddie Ndebuli.
Kila kiongozi hadithi yake ya kipekee.
Wazazi wangu walikuwa bit strict kwa sababu mamangu mwenyewe, mimi kutoka kuzaliwa sijailala nje.
The white small one, huyo ana sniff gunpowder na risasi na bomb. Alafu huyo mwingine ni Ridgeback ana sniff simba.
Even the employees knows that, so when in the boardroom is the chairman, the CEO and the rest of.
At what point are you a wife?
The minute you get to that inside that door, you become now the wife.
Na kila maamuzi wanayoyafanya hufichua mengi kuhusu utu wao na uongozi wao.
We see God blessing us, and we now realize the power of giving also has to be rewarded back.
Kupitia kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, tunakuletea mahojiano ya kusisimua na uchambuzi wa kina kuhusu viongozi wetu.
Pick your core business as the bigger stones. Put them in your diary first. Give priority the bigger things.
Usikose kila Alhamis saa 1:30 jioni.
In a world where challenges are as common as opportunities, there are those who dare to defy the odds. They are the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship isn't just about starting a business, it's about embracing uncertainty, pushing boundaries, and turning dreams into reality.
Hata ambao ni pesa ya kusave, wallahi. Mbao mwaka ni pesa nyingi sana.
As long as you're earning something, there's always that opportunity to save. And you start with where you are.
The way we run the business is in a very unforgiving way, where every team member has to bring out their best.
So, to all the dreamers, innovators, and risk takers out there, remember, being an entrepreneur isn't just a job, it's a way of life. Join the journey. Become an entrepreneur. The Grind, Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Here on Beyond the Limit, we celebrate the extraordinary achievements of individuals who redefine possibilities. In a journey of resilience and determination, these individuals demonstrate that limitations are merely stepping stones to greatness.
I'm Nancy Njoroge, a mother of 3. I have 2 girls and a boy who is Clinton and who is autistic.
When my heart got healed, I decided to come out to be creating CP awareness, to let other people know that there is such a condition, and people that has it is not that they are witches.
Together, let's go beyond the limit every Saturday at 8 p.m.
Welcome to The Realtor, where we take you on an exciting journey from bare land to dream home. Step 1. Finding the perfect plot. We explore location, size, and potential. Next, construction begins. Witness the foundation being laid, walls rising, and rooms taking shape. Step 3. Electricity matters. We delve into wiring, switches, and smart home tech. Step 4. From paint choices to fixtures, it's all about aesthetics. Step 5. It's time to get the right furniture. Finally, the big day. Time to move in and create memories. Join us on the journey to making homes a reality on The Realtor, Tuesdays 6:30.
Kila kiongozi ana hadithi yake ya kipekee.
Wazazi wangu walikuwa bit strict kwa sababu mamangu mwenyewe, mimi kutoka kuzaliwa sijailala nje.
The white small one, huyo ana sniff gunpowder na risasi na bomb. Alafu huyo mwingine ni ridgeback ana sniff simba.
Even the employees knows that. So when in the boardroom is the chairman, the CEO, and the rest of. At what point are you a wife? The minute you get to that inside that door, you become now the wife.
Na kila maamuzi wanayoyafanya hufichua mengi kuhusu utu wao na uongozi wao.
We see God blessing us, and we now realize the power of giving also has to be rewarded back.
Kupitia kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, tunakuletea mahojiano ya kusisimua na uchambuzi wa kina kuhusu